GTII got the retracement that we were looking for from yesterday almost to the penny. Let's go ahead and find out what the probabilities are for the following sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Hump Day Wednesday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the chart. So actually very, very lucky here for that gentleman who actually said, ARCa, we summon you, right? So I actually was not going to cover GTII. I was going to put it off for tomorrow, but because you said that and I got a good laugh out of it, right? I'm going to go ahead and cover it just for you, my dude. So thank you so much for your support, and we'll go ahead and dive right into the charts here. Okay, you guys. So yes, this is GTII on the bi-weekly chart, you guys, and this is how we were able to tell that we were going to potentially reach the area of $1.30 just yesterday, right? So the price action ended up leading to a low of 129. You can actually see the valuations right up here. So under L, right, you can actually see that it is 129 out of the 130 that we were looking at, right? But please remember, you guys, that the support range is in fact 121 to 130, right? And also remember also the 124, the $1.24 wick that we were looking at right over here, right? Let me just hide this thing here. And yeah, so this wick here, the low of 124, is in fact kind of what we were looking for a potential bounce to the upside, right? So please remember that this 124 is very particular because we've used it for a massive launch, right, you guys? So, but still, please know that while we're actually looking at this price action, yes, we did get a very nice, very significant bounce to the upside, right, from that 129, but still the price action is suggesting a little bit of a continuation to the downside, which would be indicative of actually flooring within this area here, okay, you guys? But let's validate that though, okay? We want to validate it. Usually I tend to give you guys the perspective from raw price action before I can actually start diving into the actual indicators, okay? What I can say is that the 6-hour volatility versus momentum profile is looking mighty juicy. And the reason why I say this, you guys, is because anytime that volatility has contracted into critical zones, which is within the 15 percentile, and started an expansion phase, paired with stochastic momentum towards the upside, that is, this pair has been mathematically set to actually make a pretty nice upside move. I have not ran the back test from critical contraction to expansion. I've only ran the back test from expansion to contraction, right? But in this case, you can actually see that we're very well oversold here with an upside pivot, and we actually have the volatility component and the moving average upside here. We want to make sure that we can continue getting volatility, so we need to correct this pivot here towards the upside. As you can see here, this little pivot failed and continued, right? We actually have a lesser probability now, since we are, massively oversold here, and historically speaking, we have used it for very nice retracements to the upside, right? So in this case, we actually made a pretty nice, let me just measure it, right, just for our curiosity here. So this potential move here led to a 83% move to the upside, right? This very move right here, based on the retracement from this zone where we currently are, right? So that's why I'm saying that it is a pretty nice area to kind of be in, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the analysis here, guys, and validate what we are potentially feeling here, right? So another thing was that 124 level was actually confluent with the pennant that we're currently making, right? So there is a strong possibility here that we can actually face that downside continuation for the rest of the duration of the 5-day candle, right? So very likely for us to maybe see that 124, right, before a bounce to the upside. We're going to validate it right now with the RSI and everything, okay, you guys? So just know that we're on our way to there, okay? So yeah, but based on raw price action, very much looks like we want to touch down at that 124 level, and thus this would actually be a very positive thing, because we would close with a new higher low. And also, it's a 5-day candle, which is done in 17 hours and 33 minutes. Okay, you guys, so it is very important that we can cross that here. If we do fail the the 124 zone with a minimum daily candle, I'm talking about a whole day's candle below the area of 124, then in that case, you guys, we would have to evaluate a potential drop to other targets where I'm not going to mention them now. We'll just go ahead and go over them later if it so happens that we need to touch down on that, right? But for my bulls, we're gonna go ahead and talk about targets here. So for the bears, where we are not, okay, you guys. So yeah, let's go ahead and now continue on the analysis here and validate our potential thesis here using the RSI, just like we always do, right? You guys, we're gonna start off with the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame and build onwards from there. Okay, so now the 30-minute immediate short-term is suggesting any minute now, right? Is suggesting a massive bounce to the upside, right, you guys? So it is indicative of getting really close to that floor that we were talking about, right? Even the 5-minute and 15-minute time frames, those are the micro time frames, absolutely suggesting a continuation to the upside. All right, so now let me just, out of curiosity, let me see the hourly upside pivot, massive upside pivot, right? So let's jump into the 4-hour. The 4-hour looks like we have a little bit of resistance from both the 14-day simple moving average represented by that pink line and the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. We can actually face a short-term pullback before a continuation onto the upside. And what validates the continuation to the upside is the 8-hour, right? So as soon as this thing retraces here, it'll very likely continue to the upside because the continuation of the 8-hour upside, right? So this would essentially do a bounce like this, right? Come back down, continue on to the upside. As soon as the 8-hour faces this resistance here, by that time, the 4-hour and the 8-hour would then have pressured the daily time frame to an upside pivot and then continue to this. What this is telling me, you guys, is that this is giving us a not an explosive growth. It's actually giving us a very balanced upside growth, right? But we do need to solidify the bottom side targets first, okay, you guys, because we are kind of teetering on there. I like the fact that we have some pretty impulsive upsides in the shorter time frames, which usually end up bleeding into the larger time frames, okay, you guys. So we'll go ahead and look over the upper time frames upon those closures. Remember that the 5-day is about to close, and this is the 5-day suggesting downside, of which we already spoke about, potential 124 bottom before a continuation to the upside. Remember, please remember, okay, that that your range here is 121 bottom, okay, 120. It's supposed to be 121. Sorry, I'm not even sure where the hell the 122 is there, but 121 bottom to the top side of about 181. Okay, you guys, this is the chop zone that we're looking for. Okay, as soon as we can make this bounce to the upside and make that trek all the way up to the 180 zone, we would then likely face a pullback to validate our area of 156. Okay, as soon as we do get that 156 bottom, then we could start to see how I'm literally repeating this from this time here, right? So when we dropped all the way here, I'm saying the same thing. We need to go ahead and move on to that 180, validate our area of 156 before a continuation to the upside. We're going to see how sentiment feels only then. There's no way I can tell you now. There's no way I can know. Okay, you guys. But yeah, I think that's essentially what I'm looking at here for GTII, and it is continuing on the path that we already knew of. Okay, so but yeah, guys, please remember first and foremost that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. Okay, you guys. But with that said, I wish you well a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell. Mañana. Adios.